And we are back with another episode of Loathsome Things that I can't say.
It's always so easy to say.
Loathsome Things. My name's John, and with me is my co-host, Josh. Josh, what's happening? How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for introducing us, John. We're going to talk about this movie that we watched called The Empty Man, or possibly, if you're a certain part of this movie, The Empty Man.
Yeah, Empty Man.
Yeah. Which is a relatively new movie. I didn't write down the name of the director, but...
his name is David Pryor.
David Pryor, that's right. And this is his first film. He's been a producer on everything. Mm-hmm. But other than that, it looks like what he has directed is DVD special features of other movies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, he learned his craft pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah. And he definitely, over the course of watching this movie, you'll learn he loves horror movies.
Yeah.
I think he also loves Christopher Nolan.
Yeah. There's some definite nods, some of them obvious, like intentionally obvious.
Yeah. What a nod.
Yeah, nice nod. Hey, man, nice nod.
Why do you got to be such a nod, dude?
The movie is based on a graphic novel by the same title by a couple of people, Cullen Bunn and Vanessa R. Del Rey.
Obviously real people.
Yes. Yeah. Nobody could make up the name Cullen Bunn.
I liked him. I thought season 2 of Jackass was good once he got on there.
Yeah, he was great. He does hilarious things with his wiener. The music was done by, I assume, the Christopher Young, who I assume is a composer, and then also a group, a band called Lustmord, which does some really cool kind of atmospheric stuff. I mean, perfect for this kind of a format, and they're definitely worth checking out as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw that their name pop up in the credits, and I was like, ooh, I want to go listen to these 12-minute long tracks. Yes,
yeah,
please.
yeah. Lustmord is they're a great band.
Yeah.
But
and this was a pretty great movie.
It was. I had seen the trailer, and apparently, like a lot of people, just immediately dismissed it as a Slender Man type creepypasta flavored story, which is something that I would probably watch if it popped up on a streaming service, but I wouldn't seek it out. Yep. And so I promptly forgot about it. And and by the way, we're going to spoil the hell out of it. And so
all the way.
That's how we do. So if you have an issue with that, stop now, go watch the movie. And so Josh, what happens in this movie?
Everybody is already dead.
Yeah. Also, a major part of this movie is
yeah. Yeah, it's definitely going to set off some specific people's ASMR.
Yeah. It's like no way SMR.
Yeah. If you like the way teeth sound, this is your movie.
Jeez. It turns out that it is kind of a creepypasta-ish type tale, but essentially it kind of ends up being more of almost like a philosophical, kind of at times a mockery of kind of the new agey spiritualism. Mm-hmm. And at other times you can't tell if it's taking itself really seriously or if it's just a gigantic in-joke.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really weird because the tone is a little all over the place. And I think that's part of it is because this director likes horror movies so much. Mm-hmm. There's all these nods to all of these different things. And I think the main character has at least one spot where he does a dumb Ash from Evil Dead one line thing,
which is amazing.
It's awesome. It totally breaks the scene, but it's awesome and I appreciate it. It's just so weird.
Yeah, the scene is so strange, and then his reaction is the last thing you expect. It kind of, it makes it, I don't know, it actually added to the scene for me. I thought it was a really funny line.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the actor, I liked the actor. I liked when he, at a certain point in the movie where he goes somewhere, and we'll talk about that, but he keeps saying, anytime something's too weird for him, he says, yeah, I'm from San Francisco. So
Yeah, it's okay. I grew up in San Francisco.
Yeah, which no one is impressed by.
Well, they are in the middle of fuck everything Missouri whenever that's going on. So I'm assuming
Menards, Missouri.
Yeah, I'm assuming that he thinks it's impressive. Like, I didn't always live in my toe is in my ass, Missouri, but
once upon a time, I lived in San Francisco. Like this exotic wonderland.
Yeah, where everyone has things.
Where no bums are shooting up on the sidewalk.
It's too hard. They're sidewalks. They go up and down.
That's right. That's right.
So I guess we should talk about this movie in some sort of order. It starts in the Ura Valley in Bhutan in 1995.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Those actors are obviously really there, and that's great.
Yeah.
And there's 4 young people. It looks like probably 2 couples hiking around in Bhutan. And there's even a truck full of Buddhist monks that drives by. Like you would normally see the back of a truck full of soldiers in a movie, but replace those soldiers with Buddhist monks.
Who look probably even more menacing than a truck full of soldiers.
Oh yeah, they look like they are about to contemplate your ass.
Like you're gonna get your ass kicked by a bunch of dudes in robes.
Yeah. They walk past some sort of, we don't really see the temple. We just see the prayer wheels. So they walk by prayer wheels and play with them like a bunch of assholes. And then they come to what I like to call the Godzilla catcher, which is a giant bridge made out of baby-sized chains, just enormous infant, just huge, awesome, kick-ass chains.
Yeah. It was really, it was, they make jokes about it not being stable and stuff, but it actually looked really stable.
Yeah. It looked like it, for a bridge that is hung between two, one cliff and another, and you walk over it, it looks like the most stable one of those bridges that could ever exist.
Yeah. It had footsteps, but it also had kind of like a chicken wire fencing that kind of supported the bottom, and even the sides were supported, and it had prayer flags and bells all over it. So when they cross, they're all jingling and stuff, which I thought was a cool effect.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's a real bridge. I think that's a famous bridge that's near a famous monastery.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But I could be wrong.
Yeah. Or it could be CGI. Who knows?
That's true. Yeah. And I wrote down that these actors are store brand Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad, and also
like Walmart Aaron Paul.
Yeah. And then what I assume is Onslow Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Once they ran out of the good names.
Yeah.
And also
two
girls.
And 2 girls. One Ruth, and what was the other?
Ruthie and
Fiona.
The badass. Oh yeah, Fiona.
Yeah, Fiona. And then Paul and Greg. So these guys, they cross the bridge. They kind of get to a point where they stop, and it's this beautiful scenic overlook. It was really gorgeous. And by the way, the sound design in this movie is phenomenal.
Oh yeah, yeah. I actually, based on your take last week, I watched this on my computer with headphones, and I was like, oh, this was a good choice.
Yeah, I may do that actually later, because I usually don't watch movies again unless it's, something stupid like Anchorman, which just rewards repeat viewings. But there's something about horror films that horror films might be the exception, but in general, I don't like to watch movies twice. But I think because of this podcast, it's kind of changed my feeling about it, because I've always been pretty scrutinizing when it comes to watching movies. I notice after seeing so many of them, I tend to watch for cinematography and stuff like that without even really meaning to. Like you just kind of, I've seen that trick before, or that's a cool camera effect, or I like the way they, you really kind of notice that stuff after a while. And but anyways, with this movie, the sound design is fantastic. And like, if you contrast it to say, oh, Don't Look Now, just to pick something out of my ass, in which I mean, the sound design is kind of fantastic, but in a totally different way. It's in Don't Look Now, it's very goofy and forced and just very imposed. Yeah. The timing's off. The sounds are very unnatural. Same with like Basket Case, when the murder sled is being built in the basement. And suddenly there's a construction crew in the house that no one let in.
Someone's using a saw.
And a jackhammer to build a murder sled. Yeah. So yes, the sounds in this are, some of the sounds are meant to be almost kind of expressionistic, like the representation of something you'd hear in your mind. Others are, just weird, like creepy digital sounds, almost like part of the soundtrack, just to kind of lay a mood. Mm-hmm. And the way the music and the effects and the sound of space, the kind of the sound of silence, like the hissing of wind or whatever, all that was handled really well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say, I think this director probably did watch Don't Look Now. Like I had like a running list of movies where I was like, oh, okay, this is an influence, this is a reference. And like, this feels like it's very strange that we watched it right after Don't Look Now, because most of it is a guy kind of going crazy while he's walking around some city, and maybe some nonsense psychic stuff is going on.
Yeah, for sure. So okay, so they're at the scenic overlook, and the lead oh God, what's this? Jason Paul, is that his name?
No. Which one?
Paul,
Onslow Hemsworth?
No, the one who looks like the guy from Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah, his name is Paul.
Paul, yeah, the character's name is Paul. That's right. So Paul, they're all kind of standing there, and then Paul is hearing something that apparently the others don't hear, almost kind of like a high kind of throaty note.
Mm-hmm.
And it completely entranced him.
Yeah, it's like that metal rubbing, like you'd hear on a old windmill.
Yeah, and he's obviously drawn to this sound. The others don't really hear it, so they don't really notice. And there's a shot where he walks forward a little bit, and the camera's behind him, and there's just this huge mountainscape in front. It's a gorgeous shot. Yep. And he's standing there, and he's kind of like, what is that? He has two lines right there. Mm. Both of them have three words. And then he walks forward, and all of a sudden he just drops out of view. There's obviously some sort of crevice or something that he's fallen into.
Yep.
And so of course they freak out and go to find him.
Yeah. And badass girlfriend jumps immediately into action. No one had to say anything, and she is like already tying a rope around rocks.
Yeah, it was cool to see that they actually had some gear with them, that they weren't, I mean, probably hiking in jeans wasn't the smartest move, but they actually did seem to have some gear with them, which I thought was cool.
Yeah. They're like, they jumped into action. His girlfriend is like, oh my God. The other girlfriend is just like tying stuff off so that the guy can rappel down, like action squad style. It's very cool.
Yeah. I'm gonna go get him.
Yeah. Don't worry, babe.
You gotta stay up here.
And so he rappels down, and it turns out that the guy that fell down a hole isn't just at the bottom of the hole. So he has to like climb around inside this weird little cavern area, and he finds his friend Paul is in like a meditation pose in front of the significantly awesome skeleton thing.
Yeah, it's kind of sitting in a sort of a lotus position as well, but it has multiple, like the hands are clasped over something, but there's like, I don't know, like 10 fingers on each hand or whatever.
Yeah, really cool knuckle business going on there.
So knuckly. All kinds of weird, like just bizarre bony appendages coming out in places where there shouldn't be on a humanoid skeleton, and
Yep. Yeah, very
creepy looking.
Yeah, right out of the pilot scene in the first Alien movie. I was like, oh yeah, got some Ridley Scott in there. Very nice.
Yeah. And so of course Greg is, dude.
What are you doing?
You okay, Brett?
Can I borrow your one hitter?
Bhutan, am I right?
By the way, they don't talk like that.
No,
they actually talk like normal people.
Yeah.
Which was kind of refreshing.
Yeah. I also thought it was refreshing because, like, this happens, we're about 6 minutes into the movie when this happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, in case you didn't know, this is a horror movie. Here you go. It's only at the 6 minute mark. Don't worry. There's more than 2 hours left to go.
Oh, boy.
But yeah,
is there ever?
So he's like, hey, are you okay? What's going on? And he does like weird little like ventriloquism style, trying not to move his lips, saying, "If you touch me, you will die."
Yeah,
and
that was pretty great.
Pretty good. Yeah,
he says that twice, which gives him 4 lines.
Yep,
and he doesn't speak again, I believe. No, he says something later, and he has 1 more or 2 more lines, and then that's all the guy says for the entire movie. But yeah. So he says that, if you touch me, you'll die. And of course, the friend is, huh?
Yeah, he starts checking him for like landmines and tripwires, which is pretty cool. I was like, all right, proficient. Yeah. He's like, oh, maybe he's trying to warn me that, there's a bomb.
Yeah. So spoiler alert, he touches him.
Yeah. But he does a lot of good hesitation stuff, like multiple scenes where he like puts his hand up to touch him and is like, oh, but no, I couldn't.
Yeah, like what the hell? Why would he even say something like that? Why am I even hesitating? It was kind of that kind of feel to it. And so of course he gives in, because I'm sure he's like, well, there's no way we're getting this dude out of here because he's not moving.
Yeah.
So he grabs his buddy, and of course, as soon as he touches him, the guy's like, like this weird moany, like the subtitle said wail, but he was, or sob or something, but he wasn't sobbing. He was just kind of moaning, wailing.
Yeah, he was having a full-blown sad. Yeah.
So, which I guess the implication was that there was still some part of him inside there somewhere.
Like if I think because the idea is the theme of the movie of it being a bridge, I think if he had just left him there, maybe things would have been okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I think Paul seems to have enough a snap that, he's warning his friend because whatever is happening is obviously, wouldn't want to warn somebody away. It would want them to touch.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the, because that's pretty much out the window later, any of that, like kind of like when in a movie where someone's possessed and every once in a while their personality will fight through and, kill me.
Yeah.
It was not, it was a little bit of that, but
I don't know how much longer I can hold it off.
Yeah. So Greg picks him up and then, kind of struggles him over to the opening. They get him out. Yep. And then he's carrying Greg, and this is obviously not an easy thing to do. And they come across a cabin.
Yeah, there's a house which Ruthie opens the front door to like an asshole. Just
strolls right in.
She opens the door and then like falls inside. It's very strange, but I guess it is because part of it's probably because of the giant storm that they're in, and that's
right, because they had mentioned earlier, and we need to try to find shelter because there's a big storm coming.
Yeah, a nor'eastern.
I was gonna comment on that. Why is it always a fucking nor'easter?
Yeah, the other ones don't play well in movies. No one wants a southwestern.
Yeah, we got a sou'wester coming, guys. Well, it's always a nor'easter.
That's a total double black diamond storm? I don't know, dude.
I don't know. The point is we need to find a shelter.
And I like, yeah. So they get there. They say get his clothes off and check him for insect bites, which we did see a bunch of gross bugs crawling around that seemed to not be bothering him when he was down in that cave.
Yeah.
And ultra proficient girlfriend just gets into like doing the stuff immediately. She like grabs a pot, goes outside, finds a river, and gets fresh water for everyone.
Yeah.
She's like, all right.
She's pretty awesome.
Yeah. It's too bad, really. They determined that he's not physically hurt. He's kind of just an asshole.
Yeah.
They find a cool bone flute, which looks like a dog chew toy. And
in his hand, right?
Yeah, in
He's
his hand.
clutching it real tightly, yeah.
Yeah. And Ruthie, later on, like after they've determined that he, there's nothing physically wrong with him, that he's just in shock or whatever, then in the middle of the night, Ruthie does the thing that you do whenever someone has a creepy old bone flute and they don't seem to be themselves. You play it. You blow into it.
Yeah, you play a little bone flute.
Yeah. Yeah, just in her bedroom, playing the old bone flute.
Huffing some bone flute.
There's a really good cinematography scene where it's like that dipping into sleep and waking up and not realizing how much time has passed. It makes like the candles flutter, and it goes from sounding like there's a storm outside to there's no sound except for the creepy wood creaky footsteps in the house somewhere beyond the door.
That's right.
Yeah.
She gets up. I think she gets up to investigate.
Yep. Yeah. She walks around. She snoops on the other couple to see if they've been walking around. Of course, they're in bed. There's nothing in there. So she goes back. And that's the end. And then we see, did they say day one already?
Yes, this is day one. It says day one right at the, right after they cross the bridge.
Okay, yeah. And then after the creepy house sounds, it shows outside and it's all snowy and it says day two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the storm has come in. It's nasty. It's in the morning, and Greg and Fiona decide that they're going to go for help because as he says, I can't carry this dude all the way down there. There's no way. So why don't you stay here? At least you're safe, and, we'll go try and get some help. And so they leave. They leave Ruthie with Paul. And so she's in the house, I think she comes outside and sees, like, it's real snowy and kind of hazy and kind of hard to see. And off in the distance, she notices there's a figure.
Yep, some sort of creepy ass shape.
Yeah, just kind of standing there, probably facing her, and she's, yelling like, "Hey, I need some help. Can you help me or whatever?" And then this thing, turns and starts running towards her really fast. You can hear the footsteps.
Yeah.
And it's getting closer very quickly. And she, flips the fuck out as anybody would and turns to run into the house. And as she's closing the door, the thing is really getting close, and it's making like this weird kind of vocalization. And you see kind of the silhouette. Its hand comes up, and it looks like it has like a knife in its hand.
Yep.
And she closes the door right away, locks it, and the thing's pounding on the door. And then suddenly the voices on the other side of the door are Greg and Fiona.
Yep. It's real good. And I put the note that it looks like a ring wraith if a ring wraith had dreadlocks. It looks like all weird and shaggy and at the time you think, oh, it's probably some sort of like crazy ghost or monster. But I'm thinking later, because of what happens later on in the movie, it's just a person. It's like a Bhutanian.
It might be, or it might be just a visual manifestation.
Oh, that's true.
Which would explain why, she doesn't even see Greg and Fiona coming. She, when she slams the door, they're immediately on the other side of the door. So they obviously didn't see anything.
Yeah. That's true.
And that would kind of go in with the kind of the theme of the movie, that it's where they talk about piercing the veil and that sometimes you get the attention of other things.
Yep. And they come back in. They're like, yeah, no, we can't do it. This nor'eastern is too much.
Yeah.
So they're just like, they hunker down. And also that scene was weird when they decided to leave. They like lured Ruthie into the room with soup. And then the instant she sat down to eat soup, they both got up and they're like, well, we're leaving.
Here, have soup. And we're out.
And peace.
Yeah.
And so that's really it. Like day 2, other than that, one really good creep scene is pretty uneventful, except after they go to bed, we see Paul like hovering over Ruthie and doing the right into her ear ball.
Yeah, that was pretty creepy.
Yeah, it was good.
And then a cold cut, like just a sharp cut to the morning, and he's, she's laying in bed and he's gone.
Yep, day 3.
Dun, dun. So they're looking for the dude.
Yep. Yeah, they open the front door and you can see his footsteps leading away from the cabin, and they're like, "Oh, okay, I guess we'll follow these." And they find him at the heavy metal bridge, and he's sitting there just blowing on the old bone flute.
Blowing on the bone flute in full lotus position.
Yep. Yeah. Just, yep. There's no way to say it. He's playing his bone flute.
That's right. And they're kind of like, Paul, hey, what's going on, dude? And Greg starts getting frustrated.
He gets real mad.
Shit. Fucking sick of your shit, bro. Oh, Paul, I think I'm so special all the time. Why don't you fucking get up?
Yeah, and Fiona's like, this isn't helping. I'm an awesome, badass girlfriend. What are you doing? This is dumb. Don't do this. Be calm. Paul, it's going to be okay.
And then does Paul speak first or after what happens? I think after.
God, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's after, because Ruth suddenly pulls a knife. And as Greg is trying to kind of rouse Paul, she very quickly walks up behind him and just starts stabbing Greg in the back with the knife.
Yeah, she gets real stabby about it.
Yeah, it was pretty intense scene.
Yeah.
And, he's howling in pain and kind of backing away from her. And then he gets kind of towards the edge of the cliff and she just pushes him right off.
Yeah, shoves him right off the cliff all the way down into the mountain.
Yeah, that was intense.
And then, like you do, you also have to kill the super badass girlfriend, and she gets slashed right in the neck, all Don't Look Now style.
Yeah, slashes her throat, and then she pushes her over the edge, and as a nice touch, she doesn't scream on the way down.
Yeah, too badass.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. It's like, oh, because you probably wouldn't scream if your throat was cut.
Yeah. Good solid horror movie stuff.
Yeah, that was good stuff. And then she looks over at Paul, and he's looking at her, and she's obviously, being controlled by something in a sense, or being motivated by him or whatever. And I think at that point he says, "I told you not to touch me," or something like that.
I don't know. I don't remember that.
I forget what it is he says. It's something like, "I told you not to touch me," but he's got a single tear going down his cheek. Like the, don't pollute Indian from the commercials in the 70s. And then she just kind of turns her back to the edge of the cliff and does the slow fall into the void.
Yep. Yeah. Trust falls. Yeah.
Trust fall in.
Keep your legs straight.
Right. Scared straight camp trust fall right
Yep.
into the void.
Yep.
And it fades to black and we get the title credit.
Yeah. The MT Man.
Yeah, the P is gone because it's empty.
You see.
Ish. It didn't really make sense, but
Yeah.
I get it.
It was a stylistic choice. I really feel like what happened with this movie is the director was told, all right, here's the deal. We're going to name the movie and we're going to do all of the advertising and branding, and you get to direct the movie and we won't edit your movie. So he's like, all right, cool.
Fair enough. It's going to be 12 hours long.
Yeah. It's going to be called something dumb that the director didn't want it to be called, and that's how they'll make the trailers too.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the title of the graphic novel.
Oh, it is? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. Fine.
And it does fit in with the theme of the story.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we cut now. It's after the title. It's just a title credit. Of course, they don't roll all the credits.
Yeah.
Gaffer.
And earlier, like in this sequence, I was starting to wonder, I was like, how are they going to make this movie last 2 hours? And then this is where it explains it. It turns out that the way that they're going to make this movie last over 2 hours is cutting to Webster Mills, Missouri in 2018.
Where the movie starts.
Yeah, exactly.
Half an hour after the movie starts.
Yes. It's like, oh, okay. Webster Mills, Missouri. That real place.
2018 in Webster Mills, Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that place.
Yep. There's probably a brand of crackers that come from there.
At Webster Mills.
Webster Mills remembers.
We've been milling for over 30 centuries.
Yep. And so, of course, this card shows up saying it's Webster Mills, Missouri, 2018, and you can immediately think back to the fact that it was day 1, day 2, day 3. So you're starting the actual movie under the assumption that day 3 means it's time to get stabby.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
so we see a dude jogging over a bridge.
Yeah,
but this is an urban bridge in a city environment with you can hear a bunch of traffic underneath. And then it cuts to, an overhead shot of him jogging through a kind of like a suburban, a pretty affluent suburban neighborhood. And you can hear this whispering voiceover. Where were you? Where were you? Where were you? Where were you? You ass fuck. I hate your guts. You just shit yourself. You look like a total jerk when you run. Your nose is huge from a side shot.
It's really the worst whispering ever. It's
a really strange choice.
Such an asshole whisper.
Oh my God. I'll bet you're from San Francisco.
Fart noise.
And it makes you wonder how that's going to tie in later.
Mm-hmm. It really does make you wonder.
So then it cuts to the guy works in a key store?
Yeah, it's like a locksmith / personal defense / gross office room store.
Yeah, that was kind of like the doctor's office in Basket Case.
It was. He had the rubber stamps, he had the Rolodex, he had the gross filing cabinet, and then just like a weird stack of old broken radio equipment in the back.
Yeah, he's kind of a security dude, which I guess actually makes sense for his character.
Yeah, and he quickly mansplains pepper spray to some lady who's like, I want this one. It says it has the most sprays in it. It's like, 'cause that's what you want. You don't want to have to go back and buy another pepper spray.
Honey, I'm going to need you to sit down.
Yeah.
Let me explain spray quantities to you.
Actually,
be careful. Don't handle it too much. You might get a blister. And also, that never happens.
Yeah, no, that doesn't happen.
We're just idiots.
Yeah, he helps her find some pepper spray. That's when we see his gross office, and then he leaves. He picks an old gross coupon for a free birthday meal off of his like poster board, and then he goes to some kind of Mexican restaurant. And he's got a
Webster Mills,
shots.
Missouri.
Yeah, authentic Mexican
Tex-Mex.
Yeah, and
it's kind of like an Applebee's type place, but it's Tex-Mex.
Yeah, yep, that is on the nose. And he has like 2 shots of tequila and a beer, and is just having himself a sad little birthday time. And he like gets the waitress over, and he's like, "Here, check and make sure that this isn't expired," and gives her a tip as well. And then there's this little girl looking at him. And then because it's a free birthday meal, all of the staff comes by doing the most horrible restaurant thing, which is they sing happy birthday to him. And he gets a piece of flan.
By the way.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, he gets a birthday flan. And if you notice, they say happy birthday, dear Christopher.
No, they say customer.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, because he's just some random ass customer. But that would be
dear
cool.
Customer. Yeah, see, that was stuck in my head throughout the movie, because then when you hear his name is James, and then I was like, but it wasn't that. It was customer, because I'm an idiot.
No, it's okay.
I don't understand anything from this point forward.
I've created an entire theory of this movie based on him being a secret Christopher.
Oh my God.
I don't know, where does it go from there?
Well, and then it just shows him going. He goes home.
Oh yeah,
and he's in the house, and he notices somebody is in his backyard, because that's where you go when you go to visit people. You scare them in their backyard.
Yeah, I wrote down. He goes and has a visit with the world's most normal looking girl.
Yeah, with the most 1974 haircut I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's it's that weird helmet, like Nazi helmet style, that kind of curls in all the way around. It has that straight line all the way around your head, basically.
Yeah, like if a bowl cut got fancy.
Yeah, it's like a little Lord Fauntleroy haircut. It's amazing.
And thereby, they sit down on a bench facing the world's most disgusting swimming pool.
I think he just has been using it as a toilet.
Yeah, it's just a micro swamp.
Yeah.
It's real bad.
Yeah, James is a little down in his life.
Yeah, he's been having a depression.
Yeah. And so she shows up and she starts talking to him. She wants to check on him. It's been a year. She's worried about him. He obviously has some sort of connection to her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And then she mentions something that, Allison, and I forget, what the little tooth clicking fucker's name is, but Henry, that's it.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I'm sorry, is it okay to bring that up? No, it's fine. It's fine.
No, it's cool.
So, yeah, obviously his wife and kid, he lost them at some point, and that's why he's all bummed out. But so she kind of dances around that, but she's just really kind of checking up on him. And there's, what's cool is they don't lay out what the connection is, I mean, like, why does he know her? Why does he know her mom? Why would she even, she's kind of checking up on him because she knows her mom won't do it, kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's weird because she talks about Allison and Henry, but we don't really know who they are yet. So it's still like a question, like if, like what any of that relationship is. It feels like she could be his daughter, but it's just not like coming out. It's weird.
Yeah. What I thought was, that Allison and Henry had, died somehow. Obviously that was like his wife and his kid. And then my assumption was that he later on had a relationship with this girl's mom, and that she was his daughter. That's what I thought at first.
Yeah. It had,
Yeah, but you find out quickly that she's not his daughter. And then you find out later, the relationship that he has with this other lady and all that.
Yeah. Which it's so healthy.
Yeah, it's definitely healthy and doesn't in any way have anything to do with anything else in the movie.
And so this teenage girl with the haircut of a much older woman starts talking about stuff like she feels like she's bursting into a million pieces, and something about nothing is real, and she starts talking about the power of positive thinking, which makes him have really expressive face, and she talks about what if
secret truth.
Secret truth. And she talks about what if our thoughts start somewhere else and are just traveling through us.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know.
Yeah. Like typical, okay, this girl's, on some weird goofy trip or something. And so I like his reaction where he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is pretty much the best thing to say to that.
Yeah. You get definite vibes of this as a teenage girl who has, a particular taste in music, which is later confirmed because we find out what kind of music she likes.
Yeah, exactly. She doesn't dress the part, but she's definitely acts it.
Yeah. What happens? She
So she gets a call from her mom, right?
Yeah. Her mom's calling, and so she's like, "Yeah, I gotta go." And he's like, "Yeah, that'd be good." And then the scene's over, and it pans over to a random footage shot of the weird birds changing direction mid-flock, which is always good. Always good, that footage, but it's
those crazy birds that all fly in unison.
Yeah. And then we get
and then there's like a flash, kind of like a it's like a dreamlike montage flash of stuff with the Allison lady and this kid.
Yep. Yeah, and screaming
the where
noises.
Were you whisper.
Yeah, and the where were you? All of that good solid horror stuff. Just flashing to scenes that we don't have a reference for, but it's like, oh, okay, that stuff is part of this. And then he turns out that was him some dreams. So he wakes up, hears more where were yous, and takes his medicine, and then it shows day one.
That's right. It has begun.
It's like, oh, okay.
40 minutes into the movie.
Yes.
Day one.
40 minutes, 23 years, and a different continent later.
Amazing. Now, by the way, we should also point out that at this point, we have no fucking idea what happened to Paul. He's just kind of left sitting there.
Yeah, the last time we saw Paul, he was by a bridge being cold and having...
He was murder tearing.
Yeah, he was having an intense case of serious face.
Yeah. Oh my God. He was Jesse from Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
But he never says bitch.
Yep. That's the one.
If you touch me, you'll die, bitch.
Okay. Now it's day one, and we move into a very messy but fancy house with lots of framed photos of people we don't know. And
super rainy.
Yeah, super rainy outside and
outside.
Yeah. Yes, not inside rainy, but I could see that in this movie.
Sure.
We know that there's a lady, and she is calling to Amanda. She's like, "What do you want with your eggs?" And then she gets goes on a little journey to see what's going on with Amanda in her room, and that's when we hear a gasp. Then it shows the dude, James, the guy, the main guy, James. Do we already know his last name? Yeah, we do, because he's at the shop. So his name is Lasombra.
Lasombra, that's right.
Yeah, which means the shadow. So,
does it?
Yeah, that's real name. Yeah, no, nothing there.
Yeah,
it's fine.
No,
don't worry.
It's okay. I thought it was Lombada. So
Lombada, yeah.
A little bit more festive than the shadow.
Yeah. And we see that the Amanda is probably that girl, and her room is all sorts of artsy, and she's got like the Misfits poster on her wall. You know the one. And on her bathroom mirror is written in blood the words, "The empty man made me do it."
Dun, dun.
Yeah. Then we meet the world's two frumpiest cops.
Yeah. Yeah. Tweedledum and Tweedledummer.
Yeah. Tweedledum and Tweedle also here sometimes. We find out her dad had died of a heart attack, that she's depressed, that she had recently had a panic attack at school. We find out that she really likes the lyrics to Pearl Jam's Daughter, because they are written in her little cool teenager journal.
Yeah. Don't call me daughter.
Yeah. Yeah. And so she's so serious, Misfits, Pearl Jam. It's 2018.
Skull on the bookshelf. Little just all those little touches.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff, and they're asking questions like, "Oh yeah, well, this is one thing that really gets me is there's an argument taking place in the movie about whether or not she is a woman." And the cops are like, she's 18, and the mom's like, she's in high school, and it's like, that's a weird lines in the sand to draw. Probably won't come up, and then later it comes up in the creepiest way possible.
Yeah. I was surprised. It's like, I mean, I guess the implication was that she's old enough to, if she wants to go out and run away or whatever, that they can't really stop her.
Yeah,
she has a right to her privacy or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And so they're like talking to her about stuff, talking to him about stuff. They're like, "Oh yeah, you used to be an undercover cop. That's pretty cool. You piece of shit."
You scumbag.
And they talk to him outside where the mom can't hear, and they tell him they think it's probably animal blood. So he goes back in. The girl's mom has a really, really good looking cigarette smoke on the daughter's bed. And let's see. Then after they talk about it for a few minutes and are very vague and elusive about topics, it pans, like the screen changes, and now they are at Jacques Derrida High School.
That's not what it was called, was it?
It is. They were at Jacques Derrida High School.
Oh my God.
Yeah, this isn't a movie that just uses philosophical ideas to get a thing. They actually just go ahead and have a works cited page in there.
Wow, that's not even vaguely subtle.
No, it's not. Because later,
that's like Lost, like the show Lost.
Yeah, they're going to have like a philosophical conversation later that like works with deconstruction and stuff. It's just so
fantastic.
Weird. Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh, there's one thing that we forgot when James is looking through Amanda's notebook back at the house. Yeah. He finds a little mini flyer for a place called the Pontifex Institute.
Oh, yes, that's right. Good call. Good catch.
Which he pockets.
Yeah, he's like, I'll just steal this and one of her panties. No, he doesn't.
I'm going to turn this into a noir thriller, and I'm a private dick.
It kind of goes there. It's very strange.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of that going on.
Yeah, it's really weird because at this point in the movie, like the whole beginning of the movie, it was like, oh, okay, this is a neat, like The Thing-esque horror movie with the isolation, and then that movie is just over now, and we're on to something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Including this next scene where James is creepily lurking outside of Jacques Derrida High School and lures a young teenage girl into his car with the promise of cigarettes.
That was one of the strangest moments in the movie for me, because it was just like, what teenage girl would get in the car with some random creep, just to have a cigarette?
Yeah.
Like they're not that hard to get a hold of, really,
No.
You don't have to risk that.
She just really wanted one right now. And this guy is where she wanted a cigarette from.
Don't you know that cigarettes are bad for you?
Yeah. All right, get in the car.
So is kidnapping, dude.
Yeah. Oh my God, so weird. Everything that this movie does with that girl is very creepy and weird.
Yeah.
So he talks to her like, "Hey, do you know where Amanda is? What's all this stuff? What's the empty man?" Because it was written in blood, and it seems like she knows stuff, and she just says it's some stupid kids thing. But meanwhile, there's like weird flashes going on, and she's like seeing that weird creepy thing from earlier in the movie, the dreadlock ring wraith out of the corner of her eye and stuff. And let's see, she gives the story about how if you if you're on a bridge at night and you find an empty bottle and blow into it and think about the empty man, something would happen.
Yeah, straight up urban myth. Candyman, Empty Man, Bloody Mary,
yep.
That kind of thing, which is, I mean, it works. I mean, I guess you could argue that it's kind of cheap because it's been done before, but you could also argue that that's a real thing that captures the attention of teenagers, and they like to fuck around with stuff like that.
Exactly.
Usually they think of it as a joke, but it's fun, and they do stuff to kind of creep themselves out, and that's the kind of thing that kids will do.
Yeah. Or, lure your friend into the woods and murder them.
Yeah, that's just it's teen stuff.
Yeah, teen stuff. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so by way of her storytelling, she dreamily recaps the whole event, and we are taken to a scene where all of these teenagers are being assholes on a bridge that no one uses somewhere. At night, and talking all kinds of dumb bullshit stuff, and then they find a bottle, so they tell all of the rules of empty man business, which is and up to that point they were like, oh yeah, suicide, yeah, I'm pretty cool too, teens, cool teen suicide talk, let's do it. And so the rules are oh yeah, no, see, this is where I tried to kill myself.
Dude, check it out. I got like a big scar, and it's like cool. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. No big deal.
I'm like totally over it.
And of course, there's like the entire like regular collection of teens, including like the mousy one that doesn't fit in and stands at a distance. And we find out that the rules of the whole thing is on the first night you hear him and you can't stop thinking about him. On the second night, you see him following you. And on the third night, he finds you. And you have to, blow into the bottle on a bridge and think about him.
Yeah. By the way, one of the teens, speaking of them being kind of the quintessential teens, one of them is one of the douchey kids from It.
Oh, God, really?
From the remake. Yeah.
Nice.
It's like, oh, it's him. Perfect.
Yep. And two of them just finished being in mid blowjob down underneath the bridge, and so that's part of the thing is like, oh yeah, the slut ones. Okay, yep, we're all here.
We're all here. Bridge blowy complete.
Yep.
Let's all hang out on top.
Yep. And then they pass the bottle around, each one blowing on it, a little rite of passage thing. And then the most normal girl in the world, like, sits down and has a private little seance of one with blowing on the bottle more seriously and saying the empty man over and over and over again in little sections of 3. So, yeah, definite nods to like Candyman and Bloody Mary and stuff like that. So that's fun.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, like it's more like a tribute kind of thing.
Yep,
which I thought was cool.
And it's at night, so the bridge is all dark, and it's apparently long enough that the far end of the bridge is completely encased in shadows, and they start hearing good spooky stuff coming from there. Yeah,
they hear like creaky sounds and footsteps, I believe, and then at one point they hear like the sound of somebody scraping, like they're picking a bottle up off the ground or something. You can kind of hear that hollow glass.
Yep,
there's like a clinking sound, and then you hear somebody blowing into the bottle, and of course these kids are all completely like, "What the hell?" And then suddenly you hear something running towards them.
Yeah. Yep, and that's when they skedaddle.
Yeah. Probably a good call.
Yeah. Always a good call from the creepy thing on the bridge.
So they take off, but I believe they then it cuts back to what I think the girl's name was Davara.
Yes. Yeah.
The girl that's in the car with James. Yeah. It cuts back to her in the car with him, and she's just finished this story, and the camera pans over, and there's a whole line of kids sitting lotus up against the wall of the school,
just looking at her, being creepy.
Yeah, that was a strange bit.
Yeah. And so she's all like, I gotta go.
Yeah. She's kind of creeped and spooked, and so she takes off, and then James looks over and sees them too, so that you realize it's probably not a figment of her imagination.
Yep.
Or they're sharing figments.
Care for a figment? So he like got I guess, a list of places of all of the other friends, and he starts going around. We go to the first one, and the kid is missing. We hear off-screen crying, and the dad is like, "Who are you? Fuck off! Our son's missing."
Yeah.
And then he full-blown breaks in to Lisa Schwartz's house.
Yeah, that's right. Just struts right in.
Yep. And we hear more of that mouth stuff going on in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then
there's like weird God talk and stuff on the TV.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yep. And he's just like going around snooping through their business. And then he goes to the backyard and finds that there's a dead dog, and there are several buckets filled with its blood.
Yeah, that was pretty gruesome looking.
Yeah, that was hardcore.
Usually when they show a dead animal in a movie, it looks really stupid, like it's either a stuffed animal or terrible CGI, but this actually looked like a dead dog. It was pretty upsetting. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was a real dog. I'm pretty sure it was just, they applied makeup to him. They're like, now stay. Mm-hmm. Okay, now lick up all of the tasty blood.
Many treats off screen.
Yeah. So then, like cops and stuff, and all of her friends are missing. What is going on?
He calls, James calls Allison, and I believe he doesn't get an answer. I think he leaves a message and says that he's on to something or something like that. One of those, noir thriller type lines.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's going on yet, but I think I'm on to something.
Yeah. I think he finds another flyer for the Pontifex Institute at Lisa Schwartz's house. Thus, detective business.
Yeah.
And this is a point at which the movie is very slow. Like, oh my God, why?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So he goes to the bridge.
Yep.
And now it's nighttime, because this movie also goes from day to night in the blink of an eye.
Yep.
Much like some of the other ones we've watched already. But so he goes to the bridge. He walks out, finds a bottle, the bottle, I guess, that the kids had. Blows into it, touches it to his lips, which I thought was
not a great
kind of a gutsy move.
Yeah.
Touches it to its lips, and then throws it into the water,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not scared.
Yeah, because and the wind gust dies to nothing, and all sound dies, and then he notices that the blowjob manhole is open.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I'll just go down this manhole on this creepy bridge." And that's where he finds the 5 kids all dead and hung up.
Yeah, it was cool because he sees the first, I think it was the kid from It, hanged right there, and then like the camera angle moves a little bit, and they're all hanged in a line. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, at first it looks like just one, but it's like that vanishing point or whatever. Whenever it finally moves across, you can see that they're all perfectly lined up.
And it's funny you mentioned, because the pacing is pretty slow already at this point. And when he sees the first one, my immediate thought was, are we really going to do this 4 more times? Or 5 more times? Or whatever. So
no.
Thankfully, just one more out of this group.
All in one good shot.
Just knocked that whole group out right there.
Yeah. All of the ones that didn't matter.
Yeah. And of course, it says the empty man made me do it on the bracing of the bridge.
Yeah. And then it is a little bit later on that night, and every single emergency vehicle available in the Tri-County area is there.
As it turns out, the Webster, Missouri emergency services are well funded.
Yeah, they have fucking emergency boats, helicopters, just ambulances and fire trucks fighting each other trying to get on this bridge.
I'm not really sure the history of Webster, Missouri, but it must have been dark. Webster Mills, excuse me. And I don't know. I'm not sure the history, but something horrible must have happened at the mill.
Yeah.
there was a terrible milling accident,
Yeah.
and
Oh.
it involved water and
People.
the air. It involved air, water, bridges.
Yeah. They really should probably just take this bridge down.
It's quite possible that these guys are all of these guys were the construction crew from Basket Case.
Yes, it's that level of overkill. Like they are I don't know. They're in the process of like handing up dead teens in bags through the manhole, and it's just crazy. Like, I don't know why the boat is there.
Yeah, it's so funny that you mentioned that, because I had the exact same thought where I'm like, oh, okay, I guess we've identified that there's a lot of emergency people in this area.
Yeah, it's like in the suburbs around Houston, where if one person gets pulled over, 5 cop cars show up because they are all bored.
Yeah. I mean, I guess to be fair, if you found 5 kids hanging in a line under a bridge in some bumfuck town in Missouri, you would probably have the state police and God knows who else out there.
Yeah, that's true. Later, we are even going to get, a police officer talking about how this isn't normal and I'm too old for this shit type of thing.
Yeah, that's right. Got to throw that in there.
Yeah. But before that,
also, yeah, he looks at the Pontifex flyer.
Yeah.
He's like leaning. It's the old leaning against the car.
Oh yeah.
After, and his nose bleeds a drop of blood onto the flyer.
Is that when it started? I missed that. Like at a certain point, he is just nose bloody, and I'm like, when did this happen? Did I miss something?
Yeah, it was there. Yeah, it was just one little drop, and he kind of wipes it off, and then let's see, where does it cut? Oh, it cuts to Devara at that point, because the next time you see him, he's got cotton up his nose.
Yeah. Just tons of it shoved up in there.
Yeah, it's like, I guess we're not going to talk about this.
No, it's fine. Men don't talk about problems.
No.
So yeah.
Before
that, it switches to a like spa locker room. Which weird. It has like a bunch of lined up beauty stations with their own dedicated hair dryer. And this is whenever I was thinking back to that scene where she was like, the cop was like, well, she's 18. And the mom's like, but she's in high school, because here is her friend from school, the friend that he creepily lured into his car with the promise of cigarettes. And it's time for her to get naked.
Yeah, just take her robe off and, get a pretty lingering shot of her rump.
Yep. And then later, there are tits in here too. It's through mist, but it's like, why is this happening?
Yeah, like if it was a 70s movie, you would still think, why is this happening? But you also would recognize that it was the 70s.
Yeah, and that all of the directors were horrible people.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But in this movie, it was, like in this era, they try to hide it a little bit, except maybe that idiot that made Boogeyman movie, whatever it was called. Anyways, so yeah, it was kind of weird because it wasn't really relevant. They didn't need to show it.
Nope. But is this character a girl? Is this character a woman? I don't know. But here's her tits.
Yeah, I know. It was very strange.
Yeah, weird.
So she gets in the
choice.
She gets in the sauna. It's I would have to describe it as the steamiest sauna ever.
Yes, it is the thickest steam.
Yeah, like this might be a little too much.
You might die. Yeah, it looks like someone is vaping in the sauna.
Yeah, exactly. They're having a trick contest.
Yeah. Smoke rings smoke rings in the sauna.
Yeah. And then the sound, the hissing sound of the steam coming out stops. And, suddenly it's silent. And, she's kind of looking through the mist, trying to see. And, then suddenly she sees something coming towards her.
Yeah.
And it cuts to, which, we're going to assume is the empty man. It's the same figure that rushes the Ruthie in in the house back in Bhutan.
Yep. Yeah,
And so it comes to her. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, it gets all stabby with a pair of like beauty scissors.
Yeah, face stabby.
Yeah, like right in the face, but not like specifically not messing with the eyeballs.
No, just the cheek below.
Yeah, right into the cheekbone. I don't understand how she died.
That was ridiculous. I mean, that was kind of dumb because she wouldn't die from that. I mean, unless she bled out, but that would take a long time.
I guess he could have choked her because he also, like, in addition to being all stabby on her face, also has it has its hand around her neck and has lifted her up off the floor and is like stabbing up into her face. And then, a cool thing happens with the camera, and now we see that it's just her own hand around her neck and her own hand with the scissors stabbing herself in the face.
Yeah. And once she loses consciousness or once she dies, then suddenly there is no empty man present. It's her holding herself up and off the ground and stabbing herself in the face. That was cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really cool. But yeah, like that, it just like she just ruined her cheek. Like that's it.
Yeah.
That's all the damage that was done. I guess maybe she could have had an aneurysm or choked to death. I don't know. But
yes, it's hard to say exactly. Yeah. But she falls to the ground, and you see her blood, and it's very psycho.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Blatantly psycho, which was cool.
Yeah, I didn't even catch that, but you're right. I bet they wish they could use like chocolate syrup for the blood in that scene.
I know, right? So, so we see but then we see the empty man's reflection in her blood, and then she closes her eyes, and that's the end of that scene. It was a cool scene. I thought it was handled pretty well.
Yeah, other than the weirdness of why it was happening,
the impossibility of dying that way.
Yeah, that too. And so now the movie is done being creepy towards this girl because she's dead now. Mm-hmm. This movie definitely had a weird crush on that girl.
Yeah.
And now it goes back to Bleedy Nose and the better of the two frumpy police officers.
Yeah, James has a white beach towel stuffed up his nose, and he's sitting across the desk from one of the police officers.
Yeah. They're talking about stuff. The police officer starts talking about how murder is like sewage.
Yeah, that was weird.
And how it can contaminate a whole town. We see his hands are shaky. He's like tupping his coffee or his tea bag in the cup, and tells a weird story about, he's like, a woman who fed her baby to stray dogs and then said the empty man made her do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He says, I've come to the conclusion that there is no solving crimes like these. We can put the mother in prison, or even in the gas chamber.
Yeah.
There's no solving it. It's too big. We can't indict the cosmos, he says.
Yeah, that was a little heavy-handed line.
It's like, whoa. The gas chamber? Dude. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, back off.
Yeah, this cop definitely needs to be like 2 weeks away from retirement.
Yeah, nap time, Serpico.
Yeah. I mean, the line, we can't indict the cosmos, is great. That's great. It's just such a weird place for it to come from.
It really is. And then we hear some of this talking in voiceover, and then we see a shot of a candlelight vigil at night, and then it basically the shot cuts to James sees this candlelight vigil. If I remember correctly, he's still, or it's kind of cutting around at this point, isn't it?
Yeah. It's I wrote a note at this point: is this movie is not afraid to just take its time and be all moody.
Yeah, and it'll do this kind of weird transition between scenes where maybe it's a bridge where where you're in the police station, and then you see this candlelight vigil, and then you're back with the police thing, and then eventually you're entirely at the candlelight vigil part. It kind of drifts into scenes sometimes.
Yep.
Which was cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's great cinematography. All of this thing, all the times I'm making fun of it, it's just this really should have been the director's cut of the movie. I feel like there is a solid 90-minute movie here that still gets everything across, but like this is like the full like art film version of it.
Yeah, it's funny because the reviews I read, usually there's a pretty solid element in most reviews where I'm like, yeah, this guy's a tool, but overall he's right. But this is bullshit. But they all had basically said that this movie kind of has future classic stamped on it, and it really does.
Yeah, absolutely. I
could see it really kind of like developing an audience because it was an absolute total box office failure.
Oh yeah, I never heard of it until this year.
Yeah, it's amazing that this guy was able to, get a green light on a 2-hour plus creeper that they try to market towards teenagers. And that kind of stuff is so dumb because yeah, you might get some teens that watch it, but they're going to fucking hate it. And so you just kill the movie right there.
Yeah.
If they had made more of a kind of, we've had Hereditary, we've had Midsummer, we've had more intellectually minded adult themed horror films recently. The Witch, there is an audience for that stuff, but I guess they were too afraid. 20th Century Fox was too afraid to market it that way.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know what they were going for with this. I guess they didn't want to think outside that box. Be like, no, let's go with the thing that we know will get us $1 million at least.
Yeah. I when I worked at this bookstore, there was a guy that came in one time, and he was a movie producer. He's the guy that had started Orion Pictures.
Ooh.
And he was in Texas because he was making a movie with the guy that made Badlands and Terrence
Stamp.
What the hell? No, it's the director. He made Badlands. He made The Thin Red Line.
Oh.
Anyways, so this guy was, we started talking, and he was telling me how he had worked with this director, and I gotta find this guy's name. It's Terrence Malick. That's it.
Okay, yeah.
So, anyways, yeah. So I was talking to this guy, and he was talking about Terrence Malick and stuff, and what was that? I'm trying to remember what the hell we were talking about that triggered me to even say this in the first fucking place.
It's a great story so far.
Oh my God. It's, having a complete brain fart on a podcast is always good.
Which Terrence
where were we in
was
the
he?
story? We can move on. If it comes back to me, I'll share it because it is a kind of an interesting story, but okay, I don't know how it ties into this at this point.
I'd like to hear it whenever it comes back.
Jesus Christ. Let's see. Well, where were we? We were at
we were at the 1 hour mark where he finally gets his shit together and Googles the Pontifex Institute.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see. He was at the police station. They show the kind of like the candlelight vigil business.
Yep. And
then it shows him at home. His nose is still bleeding. I have no fucking idea where I was going with that. But anyways, okay. So he Googled. Jesus fucking Christ. It would have been a great story, folks.
It would have been good.
I know what it was. Okay. I know what I was going to say. It was because we were talking about, what was 20th Century Fox thinking when they marketed this film? Because, they went for the cheap move and tried to market it towards a younger audience, but a younger audience would kill any hope of this movie being watched by anybody else.
Yeah, they wanted to repeat the success of the Bye Bye Man.
Yeah. So eventually the movie, if the movie's good enough, it will catch on, but it can take a really long time if they do everything they can to ruin it.
Yep.
But studios love to do that. They love to bury projects even after they put all their money into the damn thing. But if, so yeah, anyways, who cares? Let's move on. So he Googles Pontifex Institute.
Yes. And this is a very strange point in the movie because it's like, did you mean the Pontifex Society? I don't know why.
Yeah. What was that about? What was the point of that?
I don't know. So random. But yeah, he reads around. It's like, oh, they're a bunch of assholes.
Yeah. Yeah, they really are. They're suicides. They're considered, some people call them a death cult.
Yep.
You know, they have some sort of weird, like, kind of new agey, culty, almost maybe like a mind control kind of accusations being thrown at them.
Yep. Yep. And he comes across the word
semi-spiritual. Yeah.
Yep. He comes across the word tulpa, which I thought was neat because I had just Googled that word in the last few months. I'd encountered it and I was like, what's that word? And so seeing it in this movie was kind of neat.
Yeah. What is that word?
So tulpa is a physical manifestation of a psychic projection. Basically, you through one person's thought power or a group of people's thought power, they can manifest an independent creature.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Well, that pretty dead on then.
Yep.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
Yep. So yeah, he's like Googling it. I was like, whatever, probably unrelated. And then the lady from earlier comes over, Amanda's mom. She comes in, he checks the yard behind her before closing the door, and she's brought over Chinese food because he isn't good about remembering to eat, and he spends the whole time while she's talking firmly grasping a bottle of whiskey. It's yeah, he's like, I'm not gonna put this down.
And there was a moment there where she seemed, like practically cheerful, which I thought was, I mean, I know how people, when you're grieving, that doesn't mean you have to be weeping 24 hours a day, but to play her as if she's just suddenly fine, I thought was strange. But then you realize that she's not. She's just kind of trying to be upbeat because she just came over and brought him terrible Chinese food.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like explaining, like, here's this box of food, here's this box of food. Everything's just fine. And he finally is like, fine, I'll put down the bottle of whiskey and give you a sloppy hug.
Yeah. And nothing, no sparks will fly from that hug.
Nope. Although I think her sparks were flying a little.
Yeah, I think his were too.
Yeah. She's like, can I stay? And he's all like, ew, no. She's like, right. Boundaries. And they have themselves a whiskey, and then she leaves.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they're kind of, because she says boundaries.
Yeah.
Because she's trying to bust a move a little bit. And,
yeah.
I think he's interested, but, he does. And then he's, puts the kibosh on that.
Nah, babe. And I wrote the note here. What the hell? I do not care about these people's problems.
I know. Get on with the spooky.
Yeah, I do. This is not interesting. I mean, it's nice. They look like nice people. This kitchen looks like a piece of shit. It looks real. And let's see.
Dream montage.
Oh yeah, that's right. And we hear on the first night.
Yeah.
And there's like the chair in the tunnel, and you can see a record playing. And then someone's driving a car, and there are rosary beads on the rear mirror, and flash to the empty man.
Dun dun.
Yeah. And
then he, he wakes up, and it's in the middle of the night. It's 3:04 in the AM.
Mm-hmm. The wolf hour.
Is that what is it? Does that have? I mean, obviously it has relevance. Is that what it is?
I think it might be a reference to that, like, the wolf's hour or the wolfing hour. I don't know. It's supposed to be the hour between 3 and 4 where like stuff and dumb people say it. I don't know.
Stuff and things.
Yeah, stuff and some things also.
Yeah.
And James.
So he hears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was just going to say James is real serious. We find out about his jammy situation.
Yeah, he is definitely rocking the gym jammies.
Yeah, he has a full pajama set going on.
like it. I was almost surprised there were no footies in the pants of his gym jammies.
Yeah. At times it does look like a onesie, but it looks like it might actually be a shirt and pant combo situation. But
I think it's like long underwear, which I never understand why you need to wear long underwear to bed when you can just turn your fucking heater on.
yeah, I don't know. But it's easy to take him seriously whenever he has his full jammies and his baseball bat.
I know. He looks a little bit like Alex from Clockwork Orange.
Yeah. Just no hat.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, he hears creaking on the floor and goes out to investigate, and there's like the light is all weird at times and stuff, but it turns out there's nothing in the house.
Yeah, he looks under the door and sees like two dark shadows, as if there's footprints, and not footprints, but like there's somebody standing there, and then he kind of looks like the thing turns around and walks away, and then one foot comes off, and then the other foot comes off, and he opens the door, and the door to his home is wide open,
That's
and of course
right.
there's nobody there.
Yep.
Which is kind of weird because that means it's day one or night one or whatever, and he saw it, sort of.
Mostly just heard it. It's almost
Yeah.
like these rules don't make sense.
Up until that moment, I thought it was like a documentary. So that kind of
I blew
broke
for
it
you.
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Suspended it reawakened my disbelief.
So there's nothing in the house, and I guess he goes back to sleep, because then we see day 2.
Oh yeah, he takes doxapin.
Oh yeah, doxapin. Yes.
Whatever the fuck that is.
Mm-hmm. But it is important to the movie that it is doxapin, and that we know that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's absolutely important.
It's imperative.
Oh, it's a antidepressant nerve pain medicine, also used to treat insomnia. So okay.
Wow. 1, 2, 3.
They did their research.
Nice. Let's get some.
Who's down to docs?
I'd like to feel less depressed and also sleep.
Exactly.
And what's with all the pain? Let's see. So the next
Day 2.
Yeah, day 2. He goes to the Pontifex Institute, and it is a great place. It is. There's a dude whose face is shrouded by shadows, staring down from the rotunda balcony above. And the waiting area that he's in is full of pamphlets and posters that say things like achieve and unlock and unleash and manifest.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty creepy. Of course, that's the idea. And then, but the people are creepy to the point of almost being unhuman.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, this is where that really like starts happening a lot in this movie, is like people are just like all starey and not reacting to the world as normal.
Yeah, very pallid and kind of robot-y, like black hole sun-ish, like the video.
Yeah.
Where the faces are just a little too smiley.
Yep. And there's a woman at the desk, and she says, "Welcome, go ahead and have a seat. You're just in time."
And gives them a clipboard.
Yeah.
Fill this out.
Yeah. And he asks her how long this place has been going. She says that it was established in 2013, but what we can offer you is as old as time.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so he goes to fill out the new member questionnaire, which includes allergies and a true-false personality assessment with cool questions like, life itself is a disease? Yes or no? An infection is a blessed event? Yes or no? Or the brain can itch? Yes or no?
Yeah, those were fantastic and very specific questions.
Yeah.
The brain can itch.
Some other highlights are, the entire universe is an erogenous zone? Yes or no?
Yeah. I love his reaction. He kind of looks at it and he's like, yeah, this is ridiculous. I'm not filling this out.
Goddamn government forms.
So he comes back, and I think that's when we get the first, Yeah, I get it. I'm from San Francisco.
Yeah, I think you're right. Look, I
And she
get
just
all
kind
of
of
this.
looks at him like that weird empty smile. It's like I thought that was a great joke because he keeps trying to be charming and funny, and it doesn't work at all.
Yeah, these people do not care
in the least.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, pontifex, which obviously is in ancient Rome, kind of refers to priests, but in this case, if you break it down from the Latin, it basically means bridge make.
Oh. The more you know. Very cool.
Yeah.
Got that word in there.
Yeah.
Nice. So yeah, he walks past that lady. She says she has said other dumb things that are, weird and like creepy cult like in the meantime. And he like slips past her in with a group of people that go into like a big lecture hall. And Stephen fucking Root is there. And he's the guy in charge of giving a speech. And it's incredible.
It's great.
Yeah.
What a great idea to put him in that role.
Yeah. He is. I never would have thought of him as made for the crazy like mind power cult leadership guy, but he's great at it.
He's perfect because he has this doofus charm, like the kind of guy that you just, if you saw him on TV talking like that, you would immediately dismiss him as a flake, but he doesn't come across as flaky. He comes across as a pretty just kind of dull, basic, kind of generic middle-aged dude,
Yeah.
Which is why he's so great in that role, because he doesn't really seem particularly threatening or menacing. He doesn't have to be, because he is.
Yeah, no, he just seems like this nice guy that wants to help you discover the true face of the world.
Yeah, which I guess technically he is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's real good. I wasn't expecting Milton or Bill Dauterive to show up in this movie, but there he is.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah,
he was great. That was a great idea to put him in there.
Yeah, I could totally believe him too if they wanted to make him like a like Southern fire and brimstone televangelist. Like he could pull that off. It's great.
He would be great. He would be great at it. He great character actor for sure.
Yep. And he gives a whole speech with like weird axiomatic dumb nonsense. There's lots of nihilism, lots of niche references, and basically it's like, what if nihilism, but there's this cool like God thing going on in there. All kinds of stuff. Afterwards he talks to James. Comes up and talks to him, and everyone, instead of being like, don't cut in line, they just like patiently stand there staring appreciatively as he has this like cool one-on-one youth pastor talk with the dude.
Yeah, that was crazy. It was cool because the speech that he gives to the crowd is more kind of a little bit more generic, maybe a little broad. And then it's a bit more pointed and specific when he's talking to James, because obviously James isn't going to just settle for that, that sales pitch, because he's not there for that reason. And so the guy is a little bit more direct with him, and it's the interaction is pretty cool. Or he talks about the noosphere, and it's like this weird mix of like garbled nonsense and actually pretty well researched philosophical ideas about emptiness and identity, and then some stuff about the tearing down the veil between this world and something else, and all this kind of stuff. It's an interesting mishmash of stuff that works pretty well.
Oh, absolutely. I completely believe that this director has read 2 philosophy books at least.
Yeah, I mean, I was impressed that it was, because usually movies just fuck this part up so bad.
Yep.
They either get away with making it just way over the top, so you accept it because it's silly, or it's just so dumb that you can't take it seriously. But this actually was effective.
Yep. Yeah, and it actually presents a theory, like an extrapolated theory based on its own world building. So it like uses Derrida's deconstruction of like the difference between prescriptivism and descriptivism, and then like takes it one step further into meaning instead of descriptivism, which is by repetition, a new meaning can be given to a word. He takes it the next step further, that by then further repetition, all meaning can be rendered gibberish, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. And, you know, because I mean, it's a common idea, the way he presents it to James, the character James, that, you know, like, you know, when he mentions, you know, how children, when they say something over and over again, it eventually is stripped of all meaning. It just sounds like nonsense.
Yep.
But ties that kind of into their philosophy of what they're trying to accomplish in this place. I thought that was cool. I thought it worked pretty well.
Yep. Yeah, it was neat. I liked it.
There was one thing I wanted to mention. When the guy's giving his speech and they show, you know, these people that are wearing these hideous, like kind of yellowish blazers. They almost look like they're maybe the officers of this organization or something.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, there's that scene where they all clap at the end and stomp their feet together, which I thought was weird.
Yeah.
But one of them looks like Greg.
Oh.
The guy that dies at the beginning of the movie. And the camera lingers on his face for just a second.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
It's a cool idea, but it's also kind of problematic because it really doesn't have anything to do with the story, if that was the case.
Yeah. Well, that would be weird for something in this movie to not have anything to do with the story.
Usually when you know, a movie makes an effort to draw your attention to something, even if it's a dumb idea, there is an idea there. But I don't know what the idea was. I don't know if it was to say, you know, people can come back because no one else does. It's not, you know, he wasn't he's important, I guess, in a sense, but I mean, he's not like a key character in any way.
Nope. Doesn't
you know,
even show up later.
I didn't see Ruthie over there. God damn it.
I bet Fiona was somewhere just doing something useful.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, if maybe the other ones were there too, and I just didn't recognize them, because it really, I mean, it just happens for a moment, but it definitely, I went back and watched that scene again, and it definitely focuses on this one dude's face.
Yeah.
And his hair's cut and stuff, so he looks different. He doesn't have a beard. I think the guy had a beard earlier.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and say that we are at the hour and a half mark in recording, and we are halfway through this movie.
It's incredible. Wee.
Let's do it.
Let's move it forward.
Yeah. He also meets some weird guy at the at the AA style like coffee area, and he's like got this one of those jackets with like the fluffy collar and just a one of a kind face.
Yeah.
And he'll meet him later. It becomes important.
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah.
And then he goes on a little looky-loo.
Yeah, he has himself a little trespass.
Because in cults, you know, in a cult facility, you can usually just wander around and do whatever you want, and nobody notices.
Yeah, this cult has a strong open door policy.
Yeah, for him, obviously.
Yeah, there's he like finds a cool room with like bunks, and there's a PA system saying stuff like nothing exists, even if something exists, and like going on these lines. And there's like a group of perfectly shaven head dudes, perfectly spaced apart, all meditating while staring at the black poster that we've started to see a little bit here and there.
Yeah, just a black poster.
Yeah, like a few little like dark blue highlights mixed in, maybe. I don't know. Could just be reflection.
Well, that does happen later, where he's looking at a poster and you can see things just very slightly moving on the poster.
Yep.
You can hear them chattering, doing that clicky sound.
Yeah. Yeah. Either
he's in some weird file room.
Yep. Yeah, he's in like some sort of weird storage room that has like pipes in it, and it has all of these old records, including one folder that's called Manifestation 14. And if he had just stopped and picked it up right here, we could have shaved a good 40 minutes off this movie.
But oh no.
Nope.
Detective James is a jackass.
He's like, oh, obviously this one that the camera lingered on is not important.
Yeah, exactly. So then he goes down the sweatiest basement hallway I've ever
It's
seen.
so sweaty. And he finds a giant room, a humongous room, where a small group of people are having themselves a little classroom situation in the middle, with one light illuminating them and darkness surrounding them. And so he thinks he's going to have himself a little look, and he accidentally makes a little noise. And what is it? If they start saying, you see them, they like start a little click timer, and they say, if there's someone here now, make yourself known to us. And then he starts hearing creepy noises from somewhere else in the gigantic room, and he thinks that that's pretty weird. And then he gets caught.
Well, they all bust out a bottle and start blowing on the bottle.
That's right. They're all blowing on the bottles. And
they make him leave, which I thought was weird.
Yeah, and it was this really weird, awkward scene where he like gets caught, and they like turn the lights on, and all the people down there in the little classroom meeting turn and look at him, and he's all like, "Hi, sorry, I was snooping on you."
Do you guys know where the bathroom is?
So it said it was down here.
My bad.
Yeah. So they kick him out, and then he gets kicked out into a really drippy alleyway where he meets that weird fluffy collar guy from the coffee area who says, "You'll never get anywhere like that with these cats, man."
And I like where he's like, "What's with the Neil Cassidy routine?"
Yeah. The guy's like, "Who?"
The guy's like, "Who?
What? Yeah, this
perfect moment to mention that he's from San Francisco, by the way, but he didn't drop that in.
Yeah.
He did lay one of those on Stephen Root, which also had no effect.
Yeah, Steven's like, okay.
Great, don't care.
Yeah, it's fine. I just run a crazy institute in Missouri. I'm glad you went to San Francisco sometime.
Yeah. So Neil Cassidy douche talks about Amanda, and the empty man tells him that, she's I've seen her. She's here. She's going through. She's in the so-and-so stage, or all this weird, goofy shit.
Yeah. They've got big plans for her. They're moving her up. She's going to be taking her first step to singularity.
Yeah. None of this is sketchy, by the way.
Yeah, no. And he's like, these people, you got to be careful. They don't have 5 years plans. They've got 500-year plans, man.
Yeah, that was weird. And of course, there's cameras everywhere, which James is aware of.
Yeah. And so that's a thing. And he says that she's going to what I will call Camp Crystal Lake, but it is actually called Camp Elsewhere. But
Camp Elsewhere.
Yeah.
Saint Elsewhere.
Yes. And so they like talk it out. He goes, and then there's this cool scene where it's a map of like the roads. There's Mark Twain National Park there. And then it slowly zooms in, and the map actually becomes the scenery around him, and it finally zooms in on the car. That I was like, neat, good movie stuff.
Yeah, it reminded me of that scene in Hereditary where you zoom in on the dollhouse and then realize you're actually in a real house.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Good fun cinematography stuff.
It was cool. Pointless, but cool.
Yep. And we see him. He drives past the Camp Crystal Lake sign, at which point I wrote the note, wait, what kind of movie is this?
Yeah. Oh, and you realize right away that when you see this building and he drives up on the property, it's the same building reflected in a painting that was on the wall at the Pontifex Institute.
Oh, for real?
Nice little tie-in there, yeah.
Neat deed, dude.
I know. Neat deed. So he starts snooping around.
Yeah.
Oh, he passes this ridiculous looking teddy bear, which was so dumb.
Yeah, teddy bear that like has been shot or something. It like it's got little bits of its stuffing guts are like all around the floor around it.
Yeah, it's Molesto the teddy bear.
And he goes in. Of course, it's time to trespass.
Yeah.
There's an office inside where he finds files of the people that are missing, and he finds his own file with his name on it, and it's empty. Get it?
Yeah.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
It's empty.
Whoa. You just blew my mind.
The James Lasombra file is empty, man.
Oh, snap. He finds Amanda's file too, but he just kind of thumbs past that.
Yeah.
Basically.
Like, oh, this doesn't matter.
Yeah. Then there's files on all the dead kids, the kids that hanged themselves.
Yep. Yeah. Lots of old computer business and stacks of tapes.
Yeah, VHS. That's right, VHS tapes. And then he goes. Well, no, he doesn't. He hasn't seen the teddy bear yet. He leaves there and goes to another cabin, cabin 12, and it's all empty and dusty and kind of dilapidated. He passes the VHS tapes. One of them says manifestation.
Yeah, 13.
13, is that what it is?
Yeah, it's the manifestation just before the previous one that he didn't think was interesting.
That's right. I know. And he passes that teddy bear in there. It's kind of like a barrack or something, like a camp, like, it's got like bunk beds and shit. So he pops in the manifestation 13 tape.
Yeah.
And it's got this kind of, fuzzy, staticky. If you've seen Lost, there's a scene in there where somebody's watching an old training tape that has a very similar effect.
Yeah, and it's got that like opening logo, and it's like the Pontifex Society. We transmit, you receive.
Yeah, that's right. It's all culty and weird, and you see this group of people sitting, and then you see this dude who looks like he's comatose, kind of like Paul was acting at the beginning of the film.
Yep.
He's all bloody and kind of rubbing at his abdomen, which was disgusting.
Yeah, it looks like he had like ripped off his own skin and was dipping his fingers in the wound and then using the blood as paint to paint on the wall. And it's really fun because if you look closely, you can see that he has too many fingers. Ooh, it was really good.
Yeah, it says, yeah, he paints Empty Man on the wall, like a drawing of Empty Man.
Yep,
I guess.
Yeah.
It's like an outline of a creature with kind of like rays of blood going out.
Yeah, and it's in the full lotus position.
Yeah.
Yep.
And James realizes that this happened in the room he's in because that figure is painted on the wall next to him.
Yeah, he like looks at it and he's like,
and then,
wait a minute, and turns around and there it is on the wall. Huh, cool.
And then you see the teddy bear move just a little bit.
Its head just pivots like, I want to see.
And then he realizes, he looks behind him and notices that it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. Just his little like wound stuffing is left on the floor around where it was.
Yeah. And then he goes outside and it's night.
Yeah.
Because who knows how long he was in the house.
Yeah. VHS tapes last a very long time.
Yeah. And then he hears, there's like a lake I guess a lake, and he hears chanting.
Yeah. Yeah.
He crosses over a bridge.
Ooh. What?
Gets across the bridge. Yeah. Sees a bunch of people, maybe, I don't know, 50 people, 60 people.
Yep.
All like chanting and walking in a big circle around a huge bonfire.
Yep. And then as soon as he steps close enough, they all stop and they just all stand in place and start swaying back and forth.
Yeah. And then he gets in the water, gets closer, then they do that, and then suddenly the fire turns into a sky fire NATO.
Yeah, it like gets all weird shapey and laser beams upward.
Yeah. Like unnaturally high in the sky, and he's it's kind of this trippy effect, and
yep.
And then all of a sudden he's back to normal, the fire looks normal, the chanting stops, the fire is out now at this point.
And
and it's very quiet.
Yeah, the fire goes out, and then the giant like football field floodlight also turns off, and then you can just barely see all of those people are just standing there in the shadows, and then they just start walking like a creepy ass herd, not towards him, but like towards him adjacent. And then. They do. He takes one step back, and then all of them in synchronous take one step forward. then he takes another step back, and they all take a step forward at the same time. Very reminiscent of previous situations where stuff like that happens. With the like empty man with like the dreadlock ring wraith at the beginning of the movie.
And also very reminiscent of a scene in in one of the Ben Wheatley films that movie Kill List that we need to watch as well.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, and so after the second time he takes a step back and they take one step forward, he says, "Yeah, no."
Yeah, because he steps on a stick and gets their attention.
Oh, is that what it is?
And they all turn and look at him in unison. And then he goes, "Yeah, no," and turns around and starts running.
Yeah, he does a full skedaddle.
It was great because it just completely broke the tension. It was actually funny.
Yeah.
Because it was a very disturbing scene. Like, why are they acting like that? Why are everything's in unison? It was just strange. Yep. And then they come after him 28 weeks later style.
Yes. Yeah. Fast zombie style, just charging. Like, they don't care about no bridge. They just run through a lake at him.
Yeah.
And
it's just all over his car. They're, like no concern for their own safety.
Yeah, once he makes it back to the car, I thought it was a neat little detail. They all start throwing their bottles at him.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, they all got bottles, and then they're just jumping all on top of his car, and he drives away. He like crushed at least 2 people getting away from that situation. They don't show it, but I love it happen.
It was great as he's driving away, and he goes, "What the fuck was that?"
Yeah. This guy definitely doesn't know he's in a horror movie, but it's got the barest inklings of like a Sam Raimi's Evil Dead type situation going on in there.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
And then he's back in the police station and trying to explain all this. And the cop, of course, these guys think he's completely out of his skull.
Yeah, they have a whole argument about proper ways of gathering evidence.
Yeah, you can't just stroll into a private property. James, you may not know that because you were probably never a cop or anything.
Yeah, you big piece of shit.
You giant bucket of shit.
Yeah, and the frumpier of the 2 cops is actually there for this conversation too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's there, sometimes he's not.
Yeah, he comes and goes.
Yeah.
So he goes to visit what's her nuts. Well, her name is Laura. I don't even know if they've told you her name yet at this point.
Probably. I'm bad at names.
Amanda's mom.
But before he goes to visit her, he goes to his cool store and he gears up, which means he gets
that's right.
1 gun and 2 multi-tool pocket knives. It's like, I'm going to need one of these and 2 of these.
And nothing else.
Yeah.
Because I'm a security professional.
Yep. So yeah, he goes and goes to see Laura. They have whiskey. He checks outside. There's a van outside. He's like, "Ooh, I don't like that van." The phone rings. You hear the on the other end of the phone. He's like, "We gotta go." And they both get in.
It's clicky.
Yeah. Oh no, the clicksums. They get in their cars. They drive to a hotel, and they are then outside, and he says that he thinks that they haven't been followed. And then Laura's all sad. She's like, "Amanda's dead, isn't she?" He's like, No.
If she was dead, we would know by now.
Yeah. No, the fact that all these other things are going on, man, that's how you know she's not dead, man.
Yeah, she's turds alive.
Yeah. Then they have
a very touching talk about the bad thing.
Yeah, the bad thing that they don't what is it? They say the thing we never talk about. And she asks if you think we've punished ourselves long enough. But they never obviously it's just the thing they never talk about. They don't say anything specific.
Yeah, they really still don't talk about it.
Yeah. And
then we see more of his memories, right?
Yeah, another "Where Were You" montage.
That's right, with his wife and the kid, and we We see the clicky teeth thing.
Yeah, the kid has this coin that he won't stop smashing into his teeth.
And then she, what is it? A deer, I think, runs out in front of the car.
Do we get all of that right now, or is that?
I don't know if we get that now or later.
Yeah, but yeah, that is a thing that happens.
Yeah, you just see the car crash, I think, and then it's, of course, he wakes up. It's 3:04, 3:03 turns to 3:04.
Mm-hmm.
It's all stormy.
Yep.
And as this is day 2, he opens the door down the hall and kind of sees a figure crouching down, it looks like, and then it stands up. Of course, it's empty man.
Yeah. It gets all spooky. Of course, he's got his full jammy and baseball bat situation going again.
Mm-hmm. I know, rocking the same jammies.
Yeah. And after a while of like having the door closed and like trying to keep the empty man out of his room, you hear the front doorbell, a nice little ding dong going in there. And right. He makes his way, like, after he like checks the house, is like, where's the creepy thing that I know is obviously here? He goes to the front door, and the fucking teddy bear is on the doorstep. This is where I made the note, what the fuck is this movie?
Yeah. Like, where are we going here?
It's
Ted.
Yeah, he squats down, goes in for a nice little poke on the teddy bear. And, then he ends up like this great posed scene where he's like holding up the teddy bear and he has the baseball bat resting across his shoulder. It's just so weird and Ash Evil Dead style looking. I don't know. He says something too, like, all right, or something like that.
Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous.
Then we see it's like the next morning, and normally we've seen he takes his medicine and that there is a ring in there with the medicine, and this time he decides not to take his medicine, and instead he puts the ring on. That will be very important.
Mm-hmm. Not at all.
Yeah. And then we see day 3.
That's right.
Yeah.
Day 3.
Day 3. He's got some heavy boozing to do in the car. He's staking out the Pontifex Institute, just drinking. He sees the weird guy get in the car with others, and we see that he has the teddy bear with him in the back seat of his car.
It's like, okay.
Yeah. And they're in an old school Cadillac Seville, and he follows them to a really cool looking St. Louis Memorial Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. They go in through a back door. He does a really dumb looking jump over the railing move that looks like it was not necessary at all. I guess that's what
go around.
Yeah, I think that's what the medicine was there to prevent him from doing.
Getting vaulty.
Yeah. So now he's in like the back of a hospital, like the weird hallways, and you can hear like creepy, deep-throated frog voices going on. And he follows them, and they visit some hospital room, and they're like all standing around the person in the hospital bed, and they synchronized fall to their knees and start bowing, at which point we can see that the person in the hospital bed is Paul from the first part of the movie.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yep, that was real neat. He's like in a hospital bed, he's all like shave heady and looks all sick and is in a coma. And then James waits outside and full blown abducts the kid.
Totally abducts Neil Cassadouche.
Yeah, yes. Pepper sprays him in the face and then noisily shoves him fighting, kicking, and screaming into the back of his car, to which all of the people around on the street can easily hear and have no reaction to.
all of them are buried on their cell phones.
Yeah.
Another weird little moment of levity that made no sense.
Yeah, little that one's in here for grandpa who thinks kids shouldn't be on their cell phones so much moment.
That was so strange.
Yeah.
Like, why was that in there?
Yeah. So they have a whole weird, he like takes him to like a gully situation and it has a gun to his head and it's like, you're going to tell me all the things. And he's all like, Paul is an antenna. He transmits, we receive. Thought is communicable, dude.
Yeah. He gets the broiest new age speech ever.
Yeah. They talk about the noosphere, shared thoughts, and how the shared thoughts aren't just from human thoughts. They're other minds and ancient and angry things. And whenever you dream or have fevers or deja vu, it's all actually a documentary. It's not things you're thinking up.
Right. Pretty cool.
Yep.
But James is not impressed and he gets very punchy.
Yeah, he gets punchy. The only what is it? Sometimes there's an empty man, the endless black chaos. Things are gonna slide, man. It's gonna be a bloodbath.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then James beats the living hell out of Cassadouche, who's laughing hysterically.
Yes. And did you catch the his one-liner while he's beating up the guy?
What was it?
It's, I'm so sick of your shit, man. I grew up in San Francisco.
Oh, that's right. That's such a weird, that whole little section there, the last few minutes is so strange.
Yeah, it's real weird.
Weird stabs at humor.
Yep.
That's right, San Francisco. Yeah, that was great.
Yep. And so he leaves him there and goes, and it's time to do more trespassing. So he's going to break into the Pontifex Institute, and he pulls out his like what is it, chain cutting pliers.
Mm-hmm.
But it turns out
pops his way in.
Yeah, but it turns out that the chains were already not locked, so he can just walk right in. And he remembers, oh, I think there was a binder called Manifestation 14. I'll go get that.
Yeah, of course, he just suddenly notices it when he didn't seem to notice it before, which that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
No problem. But he gets it. He gets the file, opens it up, and all of his shit is in there.
Yep. Including a newspaper clipping that just says growing up in San Francisco.
Yeah. Pictures of him naked sitting in a chair. And like all kinds of weird, very specific stuff that is oddly directly related to things that he's said throughout the movie in a strange linear way.
Yep. His free birthday meal coupon is in there.
It's like it's not stuff about him necessarily. It's just, I mean, it is stuff about him, but it's more specifically stuff that directly, is analogous to stuff that you've seen happen to him throughout the course of the movie.
Yep. Including his prescription for Doxapan. It's in there.
Yeah, it's all laid out there, which is pretty cool because obviously he's like, what the fuck?
Yep. And there's pictures of his wife and son. And then we get another, because of that, it's like a memory montage this time.
Mm-hmm.
And the full coin tooth clicking. And this time, instead of where were you, we hear itch in the brain, and he finds you on the third night.
That's right.
And then it's weird because it's like switching between stuff. I thought it was really weird, really good. He for a second it looks like he's driving around the hallways of the hospital.
Yeah, and
that was super amazing, effective. I liked that. That was great.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. He makes his way. That part of that is he's driving to the hospital. We got a scene of hospital security cameras, so it kind of has that feeling of like The Grudge a little bit. And then he talks to the world's creepiest nurse about Paul.
It's cool because she at first she kind of plays it a little bit straight, even though you're like, I very I was very suspicious of that. Like, yeah, she's got to be in on it. And then the more he talks to her, the more surreal and strange she becomes.
Yep. Yeah. It's just like at first she's like, oh, I really shouldn't tell you this, but they're like being conspiratorial together. But then it's just like full blown batshit. She's like, go ahead.
Yeah, it's almost like a we've been expecting you kind of thing, except she never says that. But you can tell that it's, she was covering for, at first it seemed like she was covering, and then you realize that it was almost like she was just kind of doing it to fuck with him almost.
Yeah. Yep. We find out that Paul is in ICU, but he's stable. And he's like, is it normal for someone who's stable to be in ICU? And she's like, no, it's not. And we find out she lists all the places that he's been transferred from up to this hospital. And it like coincides with all of the places we've seen before whenever he was researching the Pontifex Institute, like all of the places where they've had like HQs and things have gone on with the empty man. She doesn't know who pays for it, but he certainly gets a lot of visitors. There's one of them with him now. Yeah.
Who could it be? He
goes inside, leaves the creepy nurse behind, and inside Paul's visitor is the world's most normal girl.
That's right. In the flesh.
Yep. The full
with her
haircut.
Ridiculous hair.
Yeah. Yep.
It's Bamanda.
And here she lays it all out, tells him all of the things. Paul is a carrier because it's like he's a disease, but also like a carrier signal modulated by an input signal, and his message is contagious.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah. It got. I thought this was a good nod to like Event Horizon. Like it's very, like the chaos of the abyss beyond. Very good stuff. Yeah. Very Lovecraftian. He calls the girl's mom, and he's like, "It's me, James. Who are you?" She says, "You have the wrong number." And then she like lays out how it's all been their master plan to get a new carrier because this guy's gonna die soon. We need a new body for him to be in. And it turns out that because it's really hard to find a character, they decide to take it into their own hands and create one. So they somehow did a thing to psychically manifest a tulpa to put the empty man into, or whatever inhabits the empty man, because they need an empty man. And she claims that he is that empty man, that we created you. You were born at a Tex-Mex restaurant and they sang happy birthday to you.
Yeah, it's so that basically what they're saying is that what he's experiencing are flashes of his previous life. Is that, and they, or are they literally saying that they created him in the restaurant? I was a little confused there.
They're saying that like she wrote the script of his life, that everything he remembers is just things that they put into his head for him to have memories, and that he didn't exist until the restaurant. Which I thought, that seems like a strange choice, but like the first time we see him, we're looking at an empty bridge, and then he crests the horizon of the bridge. That to me looks like where he was born, but according to her, it was at the world's greatest Mexican food restaurant.
Yeah, see, that's what I didn't understand. So all the stuff about his kid and his wife dying and all that, was all just implanted in him?
That's the claim. I don't know if I think the movie wants you to ask that question of yourself.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair enough.
Yeah, but the claim that she is making is that all of that is fake, and that's why whenever he calls Laura, she's like, "Who? What are you talking about? Who is this?" He's like, "Is this Laura?" And she's like, "Yeah, this is Laura. Who the fuck are you? What are you talking about?" She's like, "See, it was all fake. It's all fake things that you have in your head." Which plays in with like all of the people that are standing around just not worried that he's abducting a guy. that would, I guess, also mean that if it is true that he was just invented 3 days ago, those police officers that said that they'd heard of him would also have to be like in on it. I don't know.
I mean, I guess as soon as this concept is presented that he's entirely a creation, then everything that's happened to him is part of that creation, essentially.
Yeah.
Even though that doesn't really, you're right though, because it does contrast with the fact that Allison has no idea who he is when he calls. So, yeah, it's a little troubled, but I guess it works. It's okay.
Yeah, and he's all like, "What? No!" And then he like flashes. We get like the full scene of the death of Allison and Henry, which is that because the kid is tapping the coin on his teeth, the mother like reaches into the back seat to like try to get him to stop, and a deer comes out of the woods right before they were going to drive across a bridge, and so she overcorrects and goes flying over the side of the bridge to their death below.
But don't feel bad, because that's all a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah. This movie about a bridge monster, it has nothing to do with him coming to terms with the actual death of his wife and son, while we see he's fucking Laura, like off having himself right. a dalliance at the funeral of her husband.
Yeah,
they stay afterwards at the wake to have funeral sex, including she has like funeral lingerie on.
And now this is this is when this kind of stuff becomes a problem, because why in the fuck would they create all that stuff and put it in them? That just seems ridiculous. And like, why does that even need to be there? What it makes me think of this whole conceit, by the way, is the movie Angel Heart.
Oh, I don't know that movie.
Oh, you don't know it?
I've never heard of that movie.
Mickey O'Rourke, Robert De Niro in New Orleans.
Oh, no, I have no idea. Is it a gangster movie?
Okay. No, it's a horror film. Oh. We're going to do that one.
Oh.
So I won't explain any further, but it's I'll leave the spoilers for the moment we start that episode, but that will be a good one to do.
Oh, it has Elisa Bonet in it. I love Elisa Bonet. That's awesome.
Oh, it's got a lot of Lisa Bonet in it.
Oh, okay.
If you know what I'm saying.
Hooray!
It's really good.
Okay. I look forward to it. I have no idea what to expect. That's cool.
Good stuff.
Okay, so what?
Yeah, so there you go. He's the tulpa. He's a blank slate. His entire identity was created. His entire being was created. In the time of essentially in the period of time in the movie. I mean, as you mentioned, like when we see him jogging, that actually predates that. But that could just be part of the implant.
Yep. And he starts flashing back to all sorts of stuff. He flashes back to the scene where he was watching the classroom people, and they heard him make a noise, and they said, "Is someone here?" But now he is in the space where the other sounds were coming from, and he even can look up and sees himself standing up there from the other time. Woo. There's a scene, he flashes back to like himself sitting in the chair in the tunnel. He flashes to the cool knuckly skeleton cave. And then there he sees like the spirit or whatever of the empty man come out of the skeleton and starts chasing him around in the sweatiest hallway from earlier.
I do like, oh, by the way, I like when Amanda's talking to him and she repeats a line that we hear earlier in the film when she says thought plus time plus concentration equals flesh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that they need his fear to make him the empty man.
That's right. Yeah. That's why they implanted all of the like sad stuff about his life is so that he would be like damaged enough to be good for this job.
Which is fine, because then it ties into the alternative narrative, because it's a way to introduce Amanda into his life so that he has an excuse for, or they have an excuse for why he would be searching for her in the first place.
Yep.
So that works. I'll accept that answer.
Yep. It's pretty good stuff. It's like, okay, yeah, I like the stuff. I like it when movies explore like the cool, creepy, like cults of actual demons. Like, that's fun. I'm down for that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And I like all this cosmic shit. If it's the problem with cosmic shit isn't the stuff itself, it's that it's generally, ham-fisted when it's presented. And this is actually relatively intelligent. It's because it's fun stuff to read about and it's fun stuff to think about, but it can be really, really terrible if it's handled incorrectly in entertainment. And they do a good job with it.
Yep, absolutely. And we finally get a really good monster scene at this point. He's being chased by the empty man who his presence makes the paint on the walls boil, that was a nice touch. And
that was cool.
Hey, everybody, we had a technical difficulty, but it's okay. Everything's going to be okay. It's fine.
It's fine. We're amateurs. Get over it.
Yeah. No. So when we had our little moment, we were talking about the cool monster, which is like a gray intestine looking thing with a bunch of like gross foreskins slipping across each other.
Yeah, it's really gross.
Yeah, until it becomes a weird tentacle thing with a mouth and a bunch of fingers come out of its mouth and it begins to chunk vomit into James.
Amazing.
Yeah, really good monster business.
Completely, it puts itself inside of him.
Yeah, all the way. Yeah, it keeps chunk vomiting until there is nothing left of it and it has all like dove into him, which I wonder, does that mean that's what is that what happened inside the cave before? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we missed that.
Yeah, but it's a really, really good gross monster scene and I love it.
Yeah, that was really great.
Then we have the cinematography gets all like artistic and camera lensy, and I think it shows us the funeral of the other lady's husband.
Yeah. Whatever, Nora's husband's funeral, and while that's he's there, he's comforting her kind of like off to the side, which was weird.
Yeah,
because his wife and kid are there. And then like after the funeral, he walks into this house and he bangs Laura.
Yep.
While his wife and kid drive off a bridge and die.
Yep. Yeah. This is where I put the note. If you don't stop tapping that coin on your teeth, I will crash this car right off a bridge.
And blame it on a deer.
Yeah. Oh dear.
It's okay. It was all implanted in his brain anyway. Yeah. It didn't really happen, folks. It's fine.
It's fake sad in a fake movie that you're watching.
Yeah. There's much more horrible things that are actually happening here.
Yeah. Yeah. And so after that, after he gets all empty-manned and has the full entirety of his memories, he goes back to the hospital where Paul is on life support or just in coma and shoots the entire fuck out of his head.
Yeah, as I described it, he super murders Paul.
Just shoots him in the cranium multiple times.
It was great because he shoots him once, and you're like, okay, that's good.
Yeah,
and then he just keeps shooting.
Yeah.
And then they cut to Paul, and like the upper right quarter of his skull is just gone.
Yeah, there's just blood like Jackson Pollock all over the wall.
It is murder-tastic.
Yeah. It is cool. And because there's an entire hospital staff standing around, and you would think that they would freak out, we get another little creepy scene where they're just all okay with that having happened.
they're okay with it, and then suddenly they knee drop.
Yep. They all do the simultaneous bow, and we hear more monk noises going on in the background. They're all like bowing down to him, and is it they say, "You transmit, we receive."
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yep. And then the movie's over.
That's it. It's over.
That's it. The last note that I have is look up Lustmord.
Yeah. Do.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that movie.
Yeah, it was great. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yep. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed talking about it. I enjoyed I even like did some Googling. I was like, all right, well, I need to actually know a little bit of what I'm talking about Derrida. And then I was like, do I need to know anything more about what's his nuts? No, I don't think I do. What's the other guy? I want to say Faust, but I know that's not right.
I'm not sure which other guy.
Thus spake Zarathustra.
Oh, Nietzsche, yeah.
Yeah, Nietzsche. Sorry. Yeah. Spaced on Nietzsche. Great for podcasts.
You could probably cliff note, because they're really touching mainly on, well, only on the whole abyss thing. And then the Stephen Root character goes into, like there's that whole thing when you stare into the abyss, be careful because the abyss also stares back into you. And, he kind of translates that into Empty Man terms, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah. In Soviet Russia, abyss stare back at you.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was, this guy was like, I want you to see that I have read some philosophy books, which is normally kind of a douchey thing to do, but it's okay because he pulled it off pretty good.
Well, yeah. And again, I mean, maybe he lifted it from the comic. I don't, in which case
that's true.
I haven't read the graphic novel. I'm not familiar with it. But I'm going to have to probably check it out.
Yeah. I bet it's real cool art in there too.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
But yeah, this movie had a strong "Don't Look Now" vibes, Event Horizon. Definitely a little bit of Dogville, a little bit more explicit. You got some Fight Club going on in there, and also you've got some real douchey Inception business. This is definitely going to be the kind of movie where you probably will have one friend that's like, "Oh yeah, I understood everything that happened in that movie."
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's that. But great.
Yeah. It was really good. I would strongly recommend you guys check it out. It was a lot of fun, and I think the reviews were fairly accurate. I think that the movie really delivered and what they were trying to get across. I think they did a good job of that. So
yep, absolutely. I guess we can go to our ratings. I gave this, I was super unhappy with the way I've been rating things. And so I was like, you know what? I've just been waiting until the last minute and then blurting out a number. So I actually built myself a rubric and compared notes with all of the other ones. I'm happy with it. This movie is now, I feel very confident based on my scale. This movie is a 4.5.
That's well. And one of the things about you mentioning that is you've introduced the half rating, which is good because I meant to bring that up last time.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And because I realized that five is probably not enough because, if we're going to be super anal about it, some movies, a 4 just doesn't seem fair and a 5 just seems too much.
Mm-hmm.
And a 4.5, It's like, I can settle on that. I can deal with the 4.5 without having to get the calipers out.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and with that in mind, I would agree. I would give this movie a 4.5. It's not perfect, but at the same time, it's brand new. And sometimes these movies need some time to kind of settle into some movies, in order for them to achieve a 5 for me, their role in culture almost has to play a part in it. Not always, but I think this movie, would benefit well from being a movie that people talk about and having some time to kind of sink in. And maybe in time, it might go down as, as something I would consider a 5.
Yep, absolutely. Oh yeah. No,
but it's
I
great.
have to,
no doubt it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to sit with the movie for a while. I know whenever I left the theater watching Hereditary, I was like, well, that movie was garbage.
Yeah. I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. It took me a little while, like later on thinking about it. I was like, oh no, actually that movie was pretty great.
Yeah. It's funny. I had a conversation with a friend years ago, and I was basically lamenting the fact that horror had hit a wall for me. And I was, I realized how much over the years, I loved horror films, that it was something that I never had really thought about for a long time. I saw a lot of them, but I wasn't actively, I just saw a lot of them because I saw a lot of movies. And at some point I realized that I was really favoring horror films, particularly when streaming services made it easier to pick what you wanted to see.
Yeah.
Without having to go to Blockbuster and decide which version of Johnny Leguizamo you wanted to watch in every goddamn movie that was out at the time.
Yeah.
So it's just like, wow, I can watch something without Johnny Legs? I'm down. So, yeah. So, and I told this guy, I was like, I think horror is ripe right now to have that next step where it actually steps into like, like the comparably when taking horror and taking it out of being a genre and making it like literature, like taking horror out of just being strictly a genre and actually appealing to an audience as a piece of art on its own, and becoming
Absolutely.
more of an adult kind of medium. And movies like Hereditary and Annihilation and Midsummer and The Witch and
Saint Maud.
Saint Maud, and and not that those elements weren't ever there before, but these movies are definitely part of something different.
Yep.
And I think part of what triggered this transition in horror film was the new French extremity movement, which was kind of an early 2000s thing. France is not really known for its horror films, but they went through this period during that time where they made incredibly dark and often philosophical films that like, for instance, Martyrs, which shares some ideas with this one.
Yep.
And some of those movies are masterpieces to me anyway, and they really kind of changed course for horror, because we went through the 90s, which were comical, and early 2000s, and then all of a sudden movies like horror movies got really good, they're actually kind of scary.
Yep. Yeah, and, we're in a really good little. I feel like a little micro golden age of horror right now. Like lots of new things are coming out that are new, that are approaching the genre with new ideas, and it's really exciting.
It is, and this movie shows that it's not. We're not. The well hasn't dried up yet.
Yep, absolutely, and. Which, I mean, I guess it's going to suck, because that means, like 10 years from now, we're going to be back to, just like a Freddy Krueger sequel movie level of bad stuff.
I know. I mean, it's hard to say, because the period that we're going through right now worldwide is extremely dark. Yeah. And, maybe that has to have something to do with it. I mean, obviously art obviously, is inseparable from that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, it could get it. I don't know how much darker it can get, because some of these movies are really dark.
Yep.
They're pretty bummer movies, but this one's no exception. I mean, it's an examination of emptiness.
Yep. It's like it plays with all the things. It's very nihilistic, very does anything even matter? But it's real good. It is a bummer.
It's real good. It is, and it's informed by a lot of stuff from horror past and good stuff. And definitely worth watching.
Yep. Yeah. I look forward to this guy's continued directorial stuff. Hopefully, the financial flop of it isn't going to put a dampener on that, because I'd like to see him do more things.
Yeah, and what I was trying to say earlier about this guy, Mike Medavoy, the guy that started Riot Pictures,
yeah,
is that he and I talked about The Thin Red Line because he put that movie out, and that was a Terrence Malick film, and it was a critical success, but it was an absolute box office bomb, and it was an extremely expensive film to make. And he and I were talking about it, and I had told him, I said, but I love that movie. I think it's a great film. I think it was really, really well made. And he said, well, yeah, obviously I agree because I put it out. But he said, but I do agree, and I think in time, Terrence Malick's work will be regarded as he'll be regarded as one of the great American filmmakers, and I was like, well, I think he already is, and he said, yeah, but I think his whole body of work will be regarded that way. So, he said sometimes, as a movie producer or as a studio owner, he says, I just, when I trust that somebody is capable of making great art, I'm willing to throw that money away.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really cool.
That's awesome. And then, of course, there's the movie studios themselves who are like, yes, we will now forcefully throw money away by ruining this.
Yeah, this guy's crazy because he was a Russian immigrant, Russian Jewish family, and they came to the U.S. and he got his first job at a movie studio, basically like mopping the floors. And then he worked his way up to becoming an agent. He was an agent for Steven Spielberg and an agent for Coppola, I believe.
Whoa.
And then he ended up taking the helm at United Artists. And then from there, he started Orion Pictures, and then he got muscled out in some sort of power grab from the board. And then he started another production company at that point. But yeah, interesting guy. But anyways,
wow.
that was the tie-in that I thank God remembered. So I was just blathering.
Yeah, I'd have met some famous guy. Yeah.
Bookstores, am I right?
Check it out.
So cool.
God. So, well, that brings us to the final business, which is the next episode.
Yes. So just to sum up, so that's a 9 out of 10 cumulative. That's pretty good.
That is very good. Yeah. I think that's the highest rating so far. Of course, we've also, the first one we used halvesies.
Yes.
No, we had a 5 and a 4. We had a 5 and a 4 on Basket Case, I think.
On Don't Look Now, we had a total of 9 because I put a 5 like an asshole, and that's what made me decide to come up with a grading rubric, which now, using that, I put it as a 4 instead of a 5.
Fair enough. We'll record them, and then it will go on our the autobiography of Loathsome Things.
There you go.
I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Oh my God, my fucking podcat is trying to attack the entire situation around me. Jesus.
Podcat. So next up.
Oh, next business, final business next week, next episode. Get the fuck down. Jesus Christ. Sorry.
That's right. We're going to be watching Get the Fuck Down.
Jesus Christ.
Starring Podcat.
Yes. So what are we going to be watching for our next episode, John?
Well, I wavered a little bit with my choice when we started talking about Angel Heart, but I think I'm going to save that for later, because the one that I decided to go with is a tie-in to stuff that we've talked about in the past. Anyway, I decided to go with 1951's The Thing from Another World.
Ooh.
The original Thing film based on the short story.
Where it's just like a big dude in a rubber suit, right?
A big dude, James Arness from Gunsmoke, big dude in a rubber suit.
Nice.
And it's a great movie. My dad, I watched it as a kid with my dad, and he had set it up by saying, I watched this when I was a kid and scared the living hell out of me. And so with that in mind, I watched it and it scared the living hell out of me. Now, of course, you watch it, it's just silly as fuck, but it's great.
That's awesome. That'll be great. Yeah.
For sure. And that, by the way, it's based on a short story, and the short story is fantastic. So you guys should read that as well.
Let's see. What is that? That is, I don't know. I can't pull it up fast enough. It's fine.
Yeah, I believe it has a different, I think it has a different title. It
is The Thing from Another World is based on the 1938 novella Who Goes There by John W.
Right.
Campbell. Wow.
That's right. Yeah. It's a great
Campbell.
story too. Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah. Famous racist John W. Campbell.
Yeah. So this is Howard Hawks made this one, and it's I mean, obviously it's gonna be incredibly dated, but it's really fun to compare it to the John Carpenter, I guess you could say remake, but it's really a redo. And I think it'll be fun. Also, this movie is only 87 minutes, so that'll be nice.
Hey, maybe our podcast could come in at a similar runtime.
That's right.
Instead of this, I think we're approaching the 3-hour mark.
Yeah.
Oh God. So with that in mind, to try to avoid that, let's go ahead and wrap things up. If you would like to reach out to us to tell us what assholes we are or to correct us on anything, please feel free to add us on Twitter at Loathsome Pod or the Loathsome Things Podcast page on Facebook. You can also email us at loathsomethingspodcast@gmail.com.
Absolutely. Yeah. Don't feel shy. Get in touch.
Yeah. Give us some suggestions. We're always open to whatever it is you want us to watch and talk about for way too long.
Yeah. Tell us what you like about horror films or don't.
Oh yeah. That's good too. We'll have a whole talk. It'll be nice.
Absolutely.
We can sit down and jam.
Oh, dude. Sorry.
All right. Thank you for listening, and tune in 2 weeks when we review The Thing from Outer Space.
That's right.
All right.
The thing from the man of the thing.
Yeah. Space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Bye.